Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with Jabo, the Woods Walk Gun Talk number 24. I'm just going to do a woods walk today to discuss different things, a little bit about firearms, maybe a little bit about other things. I'm sure everybody's heard about the Olympics. We'll discuss a little bit about that. It is a beautiful day today in Maine. Again. Now we're going to have some dicey weather coming up, and it's going to be a little off and on kind of rain for the next week or so, but not too bad from what I see. It's been an unusually dry summer in Maine, which has been nice because last year was record rain. And so I'm going to walk along here and find my woods entrance. She's just up ahead. I like using this entrance instead of the main entrance. Haven't seen any deer in here yet this year. Surprised by that. I know they've been around because you can see the droppings and things like that. So I'm going to cut through here, and automatically I'm feeling shade from canopy, which is nice. Automatically feels cool when you step into the woods. So it is in the mid-80s today. It's a little on the humid side. Right now my eyes are trying to adjust to not being in sunlight, which you know how that is when you get older. See great in sunlight. As soon as you get out of it, things are a little fuzzy for a few minutes. So anyways, firearms. We'll start off with the firearms thing. I have a GSG 1911, which is nice. I do recommend those. I do prefer the Colt. I think the Colt 22 is a better firearm for the money because it's about the same price. And I do believe that is a relatively new tree that fell over. It was a dead tree, damaged from previous storms. So anyway, now I have an approximation for the GSG 1911 Mainspring. Servicing your own firearms is a necessary skill because anytime you bring one to be worked on, it's going to cost you a labor fee, obviously. And if you learn how to do that stuff yourself, it's okay. And the 1911s, pretty much most of them all use the same type of mainspring housing. I don't want to say all of them do. Like the GSG, the mainspring is a little bit shorter than a regular 1911 for larger caliber. But for the 22, it's got a 20-pound spring that's factory. You can get a 16 or an 18-pound spring. But if you're shooting a regular bulk ammo and 22 LR, you're not going to want a 16 because that'll cause light hammer strikes, which is what I'm getting now. right now the hammer indents the rimfire, but what happens is it doesn't fire. Now if I lift the hammer and then drop the hammer on the same that I just shot, it'll fire on the second strike. So right now I can tell the mosquitoes are hungry today, and the reason why they're hungry is we haven't had much rainfall, and that changes animal behavior, and they probably have not been eating as much. Eating as in blood sucking. So I'm going to take my little walk around the swamp here. These mosquitoes are hunting me down today. Might actually take my Bluetooth out of my ear today, because I noticed for some reason they really key on that. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. For some reason they see a Bluetooth on something that's living, and they want to munch. So I don't know what it is that attracts them about it. I don't really care, because I don't like mosquitoes. So anyways, it's a nice day today, I think. And as you can see, the water levels are very, very low. We are going to get some rain this week coming up. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot, but and I'm going to go up through this way because this is one of my favorite ways to go through. I just love the scenery through this part. So basically all of these 1911 mainspring housings come out pretty easy. You'll notice on the bottom of the grip there will be a pin. Usually that pin will go in one direction, and you'll notice it because on one side of the pin it'll be indented for you to put your punch on to punch it out. And once that's out, what you need to do is take a rubber band. Now you don't have to do this, but it'll make your life easier. Put a rubber band around the grips over the grip safety. That'll lock the grip safety in place. And make sure your hammer is not cocked, because that puts tension on the mainspring. And if you do that, you're going to have a difficult time removing the mainspring. If you relieve the tension by setting the hammer down on the firing pin, it relieves that tension. And you can easily slide the mainspring housing out. If you don't do that, you'll have to knock it out with something, which can damage things, and it's completely not necessary. So, with that, the spring is held inside the mainspring housing by a simple pin. No matter the design, it's pretty much just one pin you have to take out, but you have to depress the spring before doing that with your punch, or something that won't damage it, like a brass punch or something like that. And you just push the plunger down. And then if it's a used firearm, or you've used it and taken it apart before, the pin just about falls out on its own. If not, then you have to give it help. And it can feel like one of those, you need a third hand thing. But it's not a big deal. Whew. All right. So, hi everybody. This is J-Bo. This is what I'm wearing to hike in. And switching over to a selfie stream, selfie view, which I don't do very often, but I'm not going to do it for the whole walk. So anyway, the mainspring housing has a spring inside it. You need to depress the plunger, kind of like holding it in your hand, pushing down on it, and if it's, like I said, where the pin can just fall out, it'll just fall out. But you may have to help it out until you have done this a couple times, and you will have to have it done. That's the part of the hammer that really, the part of the 1911 that really wears out, because it generates quite a bit of force for the hammer. So my pocket just told me I hit a mile, and so it's kind of an easy repair. And the reason why you want to have a rubber band around the grips is to hold the thumb safety, not the thumb safety, but the grip safety in, and that'll keep your sear spring in place. Because if you get one prong on the sear spring in the wrong place, then your hammer is not going to work. And you'll have to take everything apart and do it again. But that's one good thing about YouTube, is there's plenty of videos on how to do that stuff. And the GSG 1911, in that respect, is not very much different than other 1911s. They just have a different kind of pin. And if you buy an aftermarket mainspring housing, you'll have to use the guts from the GSG one, which is fine. But I did find a company that sells the shorter mainspring, and it was only like $3.95, 20-pound spring. I'm going to test YouTube's policy. It is the American Tactical was where I found it. I'm not going to provide a link. But anyway, I'm going to take a second to discuss the Olympics. What the hell were they thinking? Their opening ceremony has everybody in the Christian world rightfully upset and angry. And this is what you get with globalists. They're a bunch of godless heathens who want to destroy every country, destroy their sovereignty, and that's why they endorse mass immigration. That's also why we saw the abomination that we saw on the opening of the Olympics in Paris. So they had every single hedonistic demographic depicted, blatantly open mockery of God, with their stage set up with all these freaky looking trans people, drag queens, gays, everything else, depicting the Last Supper with Christ. If you're not outraged at that, there's something wrong with you. And I urge you to boycott the Olympics in Paris, which is unfortunate because a lot of these people have trained for a long time to go. But that is just unacceptable. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not. It's just in bad taste, if you want to look at it that way. Horrible thing. And, you know, a lot of the opening ceremonies besides that had a satanic theme to it. It was blatantly obvious watching it. And we are at war right now, okay? That's just the truth of it. People can scoff, roll your eyes, conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. We know what we see. They are blatantly attacking it. They're glorifying sexualizing children. And it needs to stop. And we got somebody walking by up here, so I'll be quiet for a second. So let's see where we're going up here.
I'm not going at midnight. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to switch over to my head cam, and I'll come. All right. I switched over to the head cam. I'll walk over this way. So that's what they were doing. What they did was horrible, and we need to boycott it for one thing, and talk about it on the internet as the other thing. This cannot be allowed. This cannot be the new normal. Everything changed in 2020, the pandemic. And it seems to have been orchestrated through the globalists in Europe controlling the EU and the world's richest billionaires, who are all socialists for the most part. That includes Bill Gates, George Soros, countless others. They own all the corporations, the banking, and transportation, distribution. They own everything except the people, and that's what they want. And I've said this a million times. If you are familiar with the movie James Caan did, Rollerball, that was based on a book called Rollerball Murders, and it was about a famous athlete who became bigger than the game because he was so good at it. He was so good that the people were starting to follow what he said. And the 4 corporations that owned the world, they divided Earth up into 4 quarters. And they were all run as 4 different businesses owned by corporations. And they legalized certain drugs to keep the masses anesthetized, basically. Drug addicts happy, because a happy drugged population isn't going to pay attention or want to rebel against their system, or if they get any crazy ideas like freedom, The government tells you what to do, what you can own, where you can live. And they promote it by telling everybody that they're free to do as they please, as long as it's what we've approved of you doing. So they let everybody that is somebody have enjoyment, but they did something to Jonathan E. he did not like. A corporate business CEO wanted Jonathan E.'s wife, and the government forced Jonathan E. to give up his wife, which he did. And she went along with it because she was offered a lot more than he could offer her. And he was very angry about that. So he took that to his sport that he does, and he excelled at it, and he became bigger than the game itself. And he started to question and started to talk about it. He wanted to see why the centralized computer was deleting entire centuries of history for humans. He goes there and he finds out that the entire 18th century had been deleted. All the books, all the music, American Civil War, well, that was actually the 19th century. But we had the 18th century erased, and so they were changing history, and that seems a lot like what academia is trying to do now by rewriting definitions and dictionaries. And you can verify this yourself. You can look up vaccines for before the pandemic and then look at the new definition, because the vaccines weren't a vaccine. They've done the same thing with transsexualism, I looked up. Now it's replaced by transgenderism. And they mention that transsexuals is a derogatory term and not to use that. So why are they doing that? Well, because they're pushing a neo-Marxist agenda and their socialist ideologies. That's why. Pushed by these big billionaires who fund all of these protests against Israel, for example. They funded the Black Lives Matter protests globally. They just finance these groups, and I call them these groups, I call them the .orgs. And they're strictly for political activism, to cause problems, to cause societal upheaval based on race, and mainly on race, because that is the one thing keyed into the human psyche that is easily attainable to elicit a response socially, because every human on the planet wants everybody to be treated equal. So they take that into account and they abuse it by doing things like, if you don't support this agenda, it means you're a racist, when they're actually pushing a political change using race to do it. And that is what people are starting to figure out, I think. And the Paris Olympics has issued an apology. Too little, too late. Somebody with common sense in the room should have known this before they did it. The person who put it on, designed it, and organized it is a Satanist, and is also very gay, with a lot of depictions of evil imagery, ranging from blood coming out of eye sockets to all kinds of weird stuff. So, some rich elitist has him on their good list, kind of like that Ambrovovich with the spirit cooking and stuff that Hillary Clinton was associating with, and Lady Gaga, who also in the Olympics, Lady Gaga was associated with this. And these are all people that are members of the WEF, which is the World Economic Forum, who openly on their website say things like, watch my step down here, who say things like, you'll be part of an international community with no borders, you will own nothing, and you'll be happy. You'll own nothing and like it. You won't have to worry about food, you won't have to worry about lodging, you won't have to worry about anything. Which is why I mentioned the rollerball analogy, because that's what that was based on. Making everybody happy and comfortable while you steal their freedom and control them forever, and they'll never have the power to get it back. And that is what's going on right now. Christianity is in the way. So whether they are satanic, believe in the Bible, believe in God, believe in Satan, whatever the hell they believe in, even if you don't believe in all that, they're attacking Christianity because a lot of people do believe it, including myself. And they are pushing the boundaries of blacklisting Christians, basically, and Christianity, by turning it into a joke. And the Bible expressly says that God will not be mocked. Absolutely will not be mocked. There will be repercussions for that. And I don't really care if you believe in that or not. If you're rolling your eyes right now, I really could care less. I believe in God, Lord Jesus Christ, my Creator. And I just do. I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Ridiculing somebody for it is shameful. So anyway, that's my opinion on that. What they did for the Olympics in the opening ceremony was absolutely abhorrently disgusting, distasteful, disrespectful, you know. And it will not be tolerated. And thankfully it hasn't been. People are very upset about it. Maybe this is the kind of kick in the pants people need. You know, Trump's been talking about how at least 50% of Christians never vote. And, you know, the media is trying to misconstrue something he said again. Shocker, right? He said that most Christians don't vote. And he's saying, this one election, please, just go vote. Just go vote. You'll never have to again because we'll fix everything. Now the media is saying, go ahead and vote for Trump, then you will never have to vote again. Like he's going to be some kind of dictator and get rid of elections. And this is all the left has. They say ridiculous, stupid, asinine things like that the average person just laughs at and say, are you kidding me? This is their... You know, it's basically what they're saying is if we don't talk about Trump, we have to talk about Kamala, and she's a terrible candidate. But the good news is we got 3 months coming, okay? As we have a dead mouse right here. I don't know why that mouse is dead. I'm not going to touch it to find out. It's very unusual to see a dead mouse out here. There's nothing out here that would poison it. So it's probably some kind of disease, or it just got old, or something killed it and decided not to eat it for some reason. Anyways, so they're basically admitting, without admitting it, that they can't talk about Kamala because then they're going to have to talk about her past comments, like wanting to defund ICE. Not just defund it, she wanted to disband ICE altogether, get rid of it. They're the chief border patrol people that keep illegals from overrunning us, and they have been attacking them. Remember the border patrol on horseback with their reins and they were saying that they were whipping migrants. Remember that? The amount of propaganda that they have spewed, I have no idea why people in this country are so stupid that they can't see through that for what it is, and they just believe what the media tells them. That includes Fox News or anybody else, CNN, MSNBC. MSNBC is the worst. Just blatant propaganda to the point of being lying. Half quotes out of context, video clips of things that politicians say where they don't show the whole thing. Like Trump's bloodbath comment. He had just been talking about trade with Mexico, and our electric vehicle manufacturing would be going to Mexico. And he said it would be an economic bloodbath. That's what he said. But they went and turned it around into, he said if he doesn't win the election, there will be a bloodbath. Like he's promising violence if he loses. These people are, there's no shame in the media. They're absolutely disgusting. They ganged up on Joe Biden to get rid of him, and I don't know why voters aren't upset with that. If you voted for Joe Biden and you wanted him to stay, and the way you saw everybody pig pile on Joe Biden to get rid of him, they did, and it worked. Granted, Biden's horrible debate performance did not do him any service, but the Democratic Party got their media machine owned by those same corporations I was just talking about. These corporations own the planet. They own all the world's media. Not, you know, you don't have like some American guy owns the American media. They have a CEO, but, you know, he's replaceable. He's not who owns it, and he has to do the bidding of the owners. His job is to find a way to sell that stuff to the public. So ABC's CEO is also the CEO of Disney, and these are all wokeism. It's wokeism, the woke mind virus. Now, the other thing that's really biting them in the can, and the reason why they're trying to get rid of Elon Musk, is this thing called community notes. That is basically when somebody posts something that's not true, a bunch of people picked by the community that knows what the truth is are allowed to attach a disclaimer on it as a fact check that is not the same as the fact checks done by the media leftists, who are fact checking using propaganda and BS. They are actually referencing, a perfect example was Kamala Harris. Axios claiming that the Kamala Harris was never a border czar. So the community notes linked to an article by Axios in 2021 that literally called her a border czar. So they cannot escape from their past when you have the truth available. And that's why they're going after Elon Musk. And Elon Musk has his oldest son, which he lost to the woke mind virus. It's a story he doesn't talk about very much, but he got conned into the puberty blocker thing. And he said it killed his son. His son doesn't exist. They destroyed him. And now he is something else that is, and his son hates him. So there's legal stuff going on between his son, who is basically telling Elon that he wants to be disowned by Elon. And so he has a personal vested interest in this, okay? And that's why he's giving Trump $45 million a month. And he also posted a video of Trump's rally from Minnesota, where Trump said that he's going to get rid of that out of schools. Child indoctrination. forced masking, vaccine mandates for kids, things like that. Things that the public wants, that the media tells everybody that's not what the public wants, but that's what the public wants. So it's going to be interesting. As you can see, it's a gorgeous day today. So the other thing I want to talk about is polling. Polling. All right, and I'm sure you're already seeing it, and I've already said it. I'm not an expert in anything, but I have been around a few elections, especially in modern times, and people are aware of what they do. They are very deceitful, dishonest. You have to remember, these polling companies are usually done through universities, things like that. There's a lot of young people involved that do the actual polling. They pick and choose who they talk to. So the best thing to do is to go to Real Clear Politics, where they will list the top 15 polls for the week or the recent month, and they will have what they call an RCP average at the top. You take all of the polling numbers and come up with an average, and that is the most reliable thing, because it just mathematically lumps all of these polls together. And, you know, for example, I saw one where Rasmussen said Trump was +7. I saw another one where Harris was +2 ahead of Trump. So that's a 12-point difference between two polls. That is a big difference. So when you add them all up and you come out with an average, it's Trump +2 nationally. And then when you put RFK in there with Jill Stein and whatever else, which, by the way, RFK is not officially on a lot of ballots yet. He's still trying to get on ballots. But when he does, that's going to help Trump by a couple of points, according to polling I've looked at. So, and then there again, I've seen a couple of polls with that were dishonest. And those polls are geared towards a young liberal looking at it, or an independent that leans left and says, oh geez, if I vote for Trump, you know, that's gonna help Trump. If I vote for RFK, that's gonna help Trump or help Harris. So they have, like, and I'm saying all the different possibilities in one. Basically, they're skewering that to try to manipulate the independents to vote for the person. Okay, like they'll make it look like if you pick Trump or if you pick RFK, that means you're helping Harris or you're helping Trump, when in fact it would be the opposite, I guess is what I'm saying. They're trying to trick these young people with these polling because they're trying to influence people. And so that's what they're doing. It's a crazy thing to watch. But just keep in mind that none of these polls are ever in favor of Trump to begin with on the onset. They will either favor liberal voters in their polling by oversampling liberals, or they'll oversample independents. They'll add more Democrats and more independents in the poll and less Republicans to try to make it look like Harris is ahead by a point or two. because people like a candidate that's winning, and they'll donate to a candidate that has a chance. Now, you and I know, honestly, a month from now, this current bump that Harris is enjoying, and this bump, to put it in context, people were trying to compare this to Dukakis, if you remember him. He had a big surge in the polls, and he ended up losing by a lot. And today you get more technology. It's easier to do polling. And they're trying to compare what's happening with Kamala with Dukakis. And it's not the case, because for one thing, Kamala is an incumbent of sorts. She's already in the White House as vice president. So the record that's in the White House is hers. Whether she wants it or not, she can't distance herself from it. It was the Biden-Harris ticket. That's number one. Number two, she was appointed to be in charge of the border and solve the border problem. She traveled to one country. She didn't go to the border till 3 months after Biden appointed her. She's been largely absent. And we got 3 months to the election. A week ago, Biden stepped down, and this week has felt like 3 weeks, hasn't it? And that's good, because what's going to happen is this is going to pass, and then we're not going to be talking about Biden anymore. We're not going to be talking about the attempted Trump assassination. Now it's just going to be Kamala's policies, Trump's policies, Kamala's record in the White House, Trump's record as president. And what I'm saying is this is all going to turn around the other way. And it sounds funny to say that because Trump is leading now, but he's going to be leading even more, I guess is what I'm saying. I listened to about 10 experts this week, or read their articles discussing that. Independents, they're not Republican or Democrat. They are professionals who have been in politics, in some cases 50 years. They have seen it all, and they've never seen anything like this, but they do know from their experience that this is going to be, Kamala is going to come down from the bump she got. And she's probably going to come down hard, because everything's going to be in full swing. We're going to have a debate. And that's why I think that judge in New York is going to try to sentence him to jail time. And they're going to make a big circus out of this. And it's not going to end well for Democrats, because Americans are tired of this. And it's just going to look like they're cheating, because they are. So prosecutors in New York have been urging the judge not to go light on the sentencing. That was a little known talking point in the media this week, but that is what happened. So they're trying to get in the ear of Mercan, who already hates Trump. But what I don't know is Mercan liked Joe Biden. He donated to him. His daughter did too. How do they feel about Kamala? How do they feel about what they did to Biden? We don't know that yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But I do know that this bump that she's enjoying is going to come back down to earth. It's only been a week. So Trump is out campaigning. He campaigns hard. Kamala doesn't like to do the work. That has been a knock on her whole political career. She ran for president in 2020 on the stage. She had a bunch of donors. She had money. She had campaign people. They all ended up thinking she was a jerk. She treated them like crap. They quit. Kamala didn't want to put the work in, and consequently she came off the stage almost as quickly as she went on it. She came on the stage at about 9 or 10%, and she left with less than 3% of the vote, because, you know, some of the things that she said on the primary stage were ridiculous. She likes to talk. She's not going to stay to a script. You know, she's got this way with public speaking, and that's about all she has. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And she will say something stupid coming up. Guarantee it. So, the matter of time. She's not doing much better than where Biden was before he stepped down, let's just put it that way. And that was the whole point of Biden doing that debate so early with Trump. He was losing ground. Trump was gaining ground. They wanted to turn things around. Well, they certainly did that. And the other thing is we're going to have a debate in September coming up with Kamala and Trump. And Trump hasn't agreed to it yet, because he knows what we know, that the DNC probably doesn't want Kamala, and Trump said he's going to wait for the debate until we know who the candidate is. So, in other words, let us know when you guys finally decide who the hell your candidate's going to be. Then we'll debate. So the media has been saying Trump is afraid of Kamala. He's refusing to debate. So everything Trump does is going to be skewered into the man that got shot in the face and stood up after pumping his fist is going to be afraid of Kamala. I say, come on, really? So they are being ridiculous. It's not going to work. It didn't work for Biden. They did the same thing. People care about the economy, money, policies. That's all they care about. Kamala Harris's policies are bunk, garbage. So just doing a quick tick check. I don't think I have to worry about it too much this time of year with the low amount of rainfall we've had. I am getting sweaty. Alright. I'm gonna go that way. What? I didn't know if you were a deer or what. Alright. So we're gonna head on up this way. So I got spooked. No, I don't know what was in here. Something was. Don't know. So anyway, back to the selfie stream. Got sweat on my brows. It's warm today. And good exercise, for sure. So, yeah, what I'm saying is they're going to have to start talking about Kamala's record, the things that she supported. She fully supports the California policy, for example, of taking parental rights away if their kid wants to transition. Now, right now, the media is going in overdrive trying to distance Kamala from all of that stuff. They're trying to de-Kamala Kamala. But it's there for everybody to see. And there's too much social media now that they don't have censorship control over. And the media companies keep posting falsehoods on the internet. MSNBC especially. And they're getting called out for it. You just read the comments. Literally 90% of them will be like, that's not what happened. So this is hurting Kamala. She's not a good candidate. Now, Barack Obama did come out and endorse Kamala because he has to. So I got a feeling the DNC has decided it's going to be Kamala, probably reluctantly. She's not a good candidate. Most of the online and offshore betting companies has already picked Trump with a 60 to 70% chance of winning the election. Trump is up in Pennsylvania right now, even with her bump. Things are closer in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and a little closer in Michigan. But Trump's leading by a point in Michigan. MSNBC, relying on a Fox poll, is saying that Kamala is ahead in Michigan and she's tied in Pennsylvania. That's not the case. Fox News has had bad polls for many years now. Paul Ryan's on the board. He doesn't like Trump. So, unfortunately, go to realclearpolitics.com and you'll see the top RCP average, which combines all of the polling into one number. Pretty reliable. They got Trump up +2 nationally with the popular vote. And they have him ahead by a little more than that with RFK and Stein added in it. So, I guess what I'm telling you is don't panic. They're trying to create panic. They want people to go, oh my God, I didn't realize, well, I'm not voting for Trump now, I'm going to vote for whatever. So, RFK, Jill Stein, they're trying to water down the vote, and all the people that support Trump aren't going anywhere. So, we have to get that 20% of the Republican Party that doesn't like Trump back on board. And I think that assassination attempt might have done a lot to do that. I haven't heard Pete Turkey out of Mitt Romney, for example, since that attack. Not a peep. He said a comment about J.D. Vance, but he's not saying anything about Trump. And you're going to see this crossover to a lot of Senate elections for Republicans. And so that's the whole point of the polling, is to skewer everything like that. So we'll just have to deal with it. That's it. We'll be all right, folks. We'll be okay. Things will normalize. Trump is still in the driver's seat. Biden stepping down kind of usurped the Trump assassination attempt. But that's a little temporary. It's just a bump. And Google is up to their tricks. If you go to, what's that search engine there with the duck? DuckGo or something like that. You do a search on there and you type in Trump AS, and a list of things will drop down to help you fill in what you're filling in, searching for. It will say Trump assassination attempt, Trump this, Trump asks, you know, whatever is Trump AS. Now you go to Google Maps, it doesn't do that. You don't see Trump assassination drop down. They're trying to wash it so you can't find it. But if you type in Trump assassination, everything you're looking for comes up. So, I mean, people, I don't think will be that stupid to fall for that. I would hope not. But anyway, I'm just bringing that up because that's the shenanigans they're doing. And a lot of the big tech is kind of like silently rooting for Trump because he's pushing AI. He wants to push AI, and he wants the United States to be the world leader in Bitcoin technology. And I think that is a very smart move because you get big tech on your side. You get people like, what's his face there, Zuckerberg from Facebook, who said in an interview that Trump getting up from getting shot was one of the most badass things he has ever seen, which is true. And he also said he's going to be neutral in this elections. That's yet to be seen. But he has a vested interest in AI. And he can't come out and support Trump because then all of Facebook will turn on him. So I think he's just being quiet about it. And because I'm not hearing much out of these big tech guys, which is good. As I traverse these rocks here without breaking an ankle. So we'll put you on umbrella cam, as I call it. This is my umbrella cam, so you can see what it's like to walk through the woods and why I wear the proper shoes to do so. And so we have a lot of stuff coming up. This is going to be a fun time. I think it's really going to go our way. I really do. Let's get a shot going over this little bridge. Now I'm used to seeing water run through here, but it has been dry. So anyways, with that, I'm going to switch back over to my head camera, and thank you for walking with me. Let's see if I am recording. I think so. I'm gonna head on up on the red trail and watch my markings so I don't get lost, even though I've been here enough times where I don't think that would happen at this point. You can see this beautiful forest. It's the forest on the green moon of Endor. And if you look up, we'll see Ewoks in the trees. We'll see a half-built Death Star up there. Trust me, it's there. So, being silly, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. All right, well, let's head up this way. Oh, it's the orange trail. I know even less than I did a minute ago. It's not the red trail. We've gone that way before. We're gonna go this way. This is a nice shot through here. Look at that. Beautiful day. Really enjoying this today. And I enjoy this time of year. Everything's green, lush. And it's even better this year because we haven't had all the rain. And I love seeing all these felled trees. So, yes, what an exciting time. And like I said before, if we get any kind of terrorist attack in this country because they left the border open, there's no longer a presidential race after that. Kamala will be thrown in the garbage. That'll be the end of that. Something I am concerned about, though, that warrants talking about, is the rocket attack by Hezbollah in Israel yesterday, killing 30 plus people, landing on a soccer field, I believe. And Israel is not happy about that because Hezbollah is funded by Iran. This is Joe Biden's money. This is the money Joe Biden gave to Iran by giving them their billions of dollars back and tearing up the nuclear deal with Iran that Trump worked very hard to maintain, which was started by Obama. And the Biden administration foolishly, stupidly dismantled it and tried a different approach with Iran and gave them their money back, which ended up funding the attack on Israel and also is funding what Hezbollah is doing militarily. And I'm going to tell you something point blank and very blunt, okay? This is important. If Israel attacks Hezbollah, we are going to be in a war in the Middle East, and so will all the other countries. Combined with what's going on with Ukraine, with Russia, and China's threat to Taiwan, this is very bad. The reason why I say that is Hezbollah is well financed by Iran. The Iranian regime will defend Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is located in Lebanon, and they've been wanting to kill us for a long time. Back when Reagan was president, we had U.S. servicemen killed in bombings. Ronald Reagan blew the crap out of them from the coastline with warships. Things have been calm, relatively, but Hezbollah killed Israelis, and what did Israel go into Palestine for? Because they were launching rockets and killing Israelis, and they came into the country and killed Israelis. Israel promises retaliation for this rocket attack. So if they are going to have a full-out war with Hezbollah, like they did with Hamas, Hezbollah has more arms, better armed, better equipment from Iran. They have drones. They have EMP devices, electromagnetic pulse devices to knock power out in Israel permanently. You'd have to replace your infrastructure. And I believe that's how that works. That means there'll be no GPS, more difficulty organizing a military counterattack. And what most countries fear is having an EMP attack before a major invasion, because you're basically making the military or parts of it blind, and we no longer broadcast on airwaves here. So how do you notify your population about an invasion that's happening if their phones don't work, their TVs don't work, their computers don't work, they don't have any power? You can't. It's a very real thing. It's technology today is scary. And it's like Trump said at one of his rallies, you know, war today isn't like you put your tanks out there against other tanks. They have more sophisticated equipment now. And that's just the truth of it. getting in a war with Hezbollah, if you're Israel, is not going to be a cakewalk. That is going to be a major escalation. You're talking about 3, 4, 5 years of warfare, all-out warfare, being attacked, missile strikes. It's not a good thing. But unfortunately, because we have weak leadership in Washington, they have allowed Iran to refinance. And they're laughing at the incompetence of the Biden administration. Because Biden's not running anything. He's just not. His staff is, advisors, unelected bureaucrats, people that get countries into wars with ignorance, stupidity, or just lustful want for war. So I hate to tell you people, but that's what we're going to have. We haven't we haven't even seen warfare yet. Okay, this is not going to be good. If you are 20 years old, 25, I really feel badly for you, because this is going to affect your life the most. You'll probably end up being drafted out of necessity, and you know, you're not going to be going to fight for Ukraine. You're going to be fighting for the United States. It's going to be different, because that is going to be a clear threat to us, the same way Hitler was in Russia and Japan. Except now you're going to have China, Russia, and Iran, North Korea, basically the axis of evil. It's a real thing, okay? Russia and Iran and China have partnered. They are heavily partnered. China is making weapons for Iran. They're building the drones for Iran that they're using for war. And we don't have anybody in DC that's going to be tough on China to force them to stop doing that. There's only one person that can, and they almost killed him 2 weeks ago. And I honestly believe Trump can really go a long way and get things done in a good way. As these people in charge right now are fools. They are fooling us into a war. And it needs to be stopped. So that's all there is to that. This is very, you know, and with all the things that's going on right now, people aren't making it a priority. They're not, because there's too much to keep track of right now. In the old days, any one of these problems would be the biggest news cycle in a lifetime. And we have had the biggest news cycles in a lifetime all at one time, ranging from the pandemic to whatever else. I mean, you know, if you want to get into the book of Revelations, this has all been prophesized. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. So, in the words of Alex Jones, get your ass right with God, because stuff is coming and it's going to happen. So, I'm not trying to be doomy and gloomy on this walk, but facts are facts. This is what's happening. So it doesn't take a friggin' political genius to understand what's going on. So I'm not going to go that way yet. I'm going to go this way. I want to go see what the frog pond is doing. So enough talk about that stuff. But it's really important this year, especially, to vote. Get people to vote. Doesn't matter how. Really, it doesn't matter how. It's either vote in person, vote by mail, whatever. We have to bury them in votes. Because they're going to cheat. They're going to scare their constituents into cheating, because they're going to feel it's noble, because Trump is going to make democracy go away, according to these fools. So Now I'm on the red trail. So they really stepped in it with the Olympics. You know, and I could never understand why they use drag queens. You know, they're like a cartoon version of women, and they're a cartoon version of trans people. You know, these are clowns, kabuki theater clowns, you know. Over the top exaggerations. It represents women poorly, it represents trans people poorly. I'm sure there's wonderful transsexuals out there who have their issues, they mind their own business, they just want to live quietly. You know? I've seen some online that aren't happy with this either, which is refreshing. There's an awakening going on right now among their own ranks. Black Lives Matter is angry with the DNC right now. I thought that was the most interesting thing this week. I never thought I'd be rooting for Black Lives Matter, but I am. I would root for Black Lives Matter if they were a legitimate non-Marxist group interested in bettering the lives for black people, but that's not what they are. They're a political thing. So anyway, they are upset with the Democratic Party for installing Kamala, thinking it would just be okay because she's black to usurp democracy. So the party that's trying to save democracy from Donald Trump is usurping democracy and ignoring their voters and installing the person they want. And the irony is just unbelievable. So there's a lot of Democrats not happy with that. I mean, people need to understand the Democratic Party, they want a one-party socialist state. It's so blatantly obvious, and I think people are seeing that now. The end justifies the means. They only care about power, and they're destroying everything to get it. They're destroying the justice system by prosecuting Republicans. They're destroying the schools to promote this Marxist garbage. And they are destroying the DOJ. They're dishonest. That includes the FBI, who finally, by the way, yesterday had to admit that Trump got shot. Finally. Yep, he legitimately got shot. Something we knew already. So, very disappointing of Director Wray to testify that they were investigating whether or not it was shrapnel, glass, or something else. Everybody has tried to take that away from Trump. He cannot be the victim. Trump cannot be shown to be human. So that's what they did. Well, this is a nice walk today. Getting a nice workout, that's for sure. I'm going to be heading off to the right down here. I want to go look at the pond. I want to go look at the pond. Up ahead. So we got these red markings. These little bugs following me. The little bugs want to eat the salt on my face from the sweat. Well, hell, you know. What you gonna do? What the hell are you gonna do? So we'll take a right down here and we'll take a look at the frog pond. The mosquito pit. Skeeters. All right, everybody. We're at the mosquito pit. That would be that thing right there. Mosquitoes. Buzzing around my ear already. These frogs need to eat more of them. Look at them right there. There's a whole bunch of them going crazy on the water. So that bird box over there usually has water underneath it and you can't get to it. Now you can walk under there and get to it. Walk right here, I can hear all the little frogs jump in the water. They can sense I'm walking by. Yeah, that was one of them. So we're gonna do a edge of the pond cam shot with the umbrella cam. Going 3.5 miles. I'm going to go underneath the canopy here on the side of the pond. I'm going to sneak around through here. I got poked in the head by a branch. Alright. I'll see if anybody's home in here. Anybody home? Is there anybody in there? I'll open that up. I'm probably not going to see anything in there when we look at it, but I thought that was funny anyways. Let's see if I can cut over through this way. I'll make sure I don't pick up any poison ivy. I gotta head over that way and get to this bench. There's a bench here. There we go. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna head over this way. So anyway, yeah, I mean, all of this crazy stuff going on right now. And I'm going to swap over to my other camera. Whew. There we go. All right. Now we'll head up this way. We were just down at that pond. We'll head up the hill here. I hear voices. Not like I'm crazy and hear voices in my head or anything, but I hear actual voices. Definitely warm today. Yeah, we had a lot of fun shooting yesterday. We shot 357s. We shot 9mm, 22 Magnum, 22 LR, 22 long, not 22 shorts. You got 22 shorts, 22 long, 22 long rifle, 22 Magnum. But the 22 longs were fun because you take a shot and you actually had a time in between. It would like hit that tree. Go pop, pop. Like a spittoon or something. Not as wimpy sounding as 22 shorts, but they were pretty wimpy. Anyway, thought you might enjoy that. I'm gonna walk down this way. We came this way, so I'm gonna take down this way. I think I'm almost done in here today anyways. It was a very enjoyable walk today. I enjoyed it anyways. All kinds of little critters out and about today. Probably thirsty, you know. A lot of these critters need some water. I don't know where critters get water when there isn't much. I suppose they could drink out of these little ponds, but maybe that's why we saw a dead mouse. Maybe it got some kind of parasite out of the water. Something like that. Crazy times we're in. Well, we'll go through this together. We'll get to the other side, wherever that is. We will. That much is certain. I've been watching some New England hikers videos on YouTube, and there's a couple in particular that got my attention. One was Mount Washington, and another was Acadia National Park in Maine, about 100 miles from here. And you hike up from the beach and get a rock face that has these steel handles and steps embedded in the granite for hikers. It's moderate difficulty, nothing major. And just need a backpack and some supplies, water, things like that. I would not mind doing that. These are beautiful sights overlooking the ocean. Maine's got a beautiful coastline. So has been an enjoyable walk today. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I want to thank you very much for clicking like and subscribing, walking with me today. I'm not quite sure if everything I talk about is the favorite thing for everybody to discuss, but it's just a walking vlog. That's all it is. It's things I care about. The channel and these videos are for me mainly. It's an important time in history, and 20 years from now, if we are still here as a species, I would like to come back and look at what I was talking about 20 years before. And I don't have the benefit of that because of the lack of technology. Yeah, they had video cameras. I got some stuff of me on videotape goofing around on a guitar 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. But I don't have a lot of it, and you know, equipment was pretty limited, bulky, batteries didn't last long. And now, you know, you get all this stuff. Of course, you know, YouTube could get wiped out and everything on it disappears. But I have a lot of stuff that I like on hard drives backed up. So I think I'm going to go down this way. I'm going to go down the White Trail. We'll head down here. This was an area that was heavily affected when we had those storms this past winter with trees that were blown over. This would be the south side. I'm seeing piles of pine cones that have been taken apart. Animals, especially squirrels, they will actually eat the seeds in the pine cones. I don't know what else eats those. But anyway, a lot of that storm damage has been cleaned up down here, cut up by the volunteers that come here and maintain it. So in any case, I want to thank you for walking with me. I hope you enjoyed it. And we will do another woods walk at some point. This was Woods Walk, a Gun Talk number 24. So I combine talking firearms with just walking through the woods talking about whatever. So I use two names, Woods Walk and Gun Talk. Basically a vlog. And I've been watching a couple of my past ones, especially walking through here in the wintertime with snow on the ground. So that's the reason why I do these. I just like to have them. There's somebody up ahead coming towards me. So thank you everybody for watching. You can walk with me through the rest out of here. The battery in the GoPro doesn't have much time left to it, I don't think. I'll have to change that. But I might just switch over to my handheld and finish the rest of the walk with that. Because that doesn't look horrible on video replay either. Extended on a telescoping pole. We just hit 4 miles.
9 minutes 46 seconds.
Which was my goal in here today. So we just hit 4 miles. I'll definitely have my 5 miles in now. So that's good. Hi. So, oh, I hear ducks. I hear some ducks. I think that's ducks. What are we going to see when we get down here? Might be a crow. Yeah, doesn't sound like ducks now that I'm getting closer. Definitely crows. Or in the UK, you guys call them magpies. Or ravens. Ravens. I think down south they call them magpies. That's the way we came in, down this way. So we're gonna walk up this way out of the park. And we will say goodbye. I'll run this head cam until the battery runs out, then I'll swap to my selfie stick. Most enjoyable walk today. Really enjoyed that. Heading on down the road. Yeah. Heading on down the road. Alright. Well, now I'm going to switch over to my selfie stick. And thank you for walking with me today very much. Click like and subscribe, share the channel. Hey everybody. Like I said, click like and subscribe, share the channel. And thank you for walking with me. Hope you have a beautiful week this week. All these little bugs following me around. So anyways, we'll finish up this walk. And I just wanted to say thanks a lot for walking with me. It really means a lot. And like I said, make sure you vote, get people to vote. We have a lot of things to fix in a very short amount of time. And even if we get the people we want, everything is going to get challenged with lawsuits to delay and obstruct. But I feel good about our chances this year, especially in the Senate. I don't know what's going to happen with the House, with Congress. But if we can manage to get the Congress and the Senate and the presidency, that would be really good. And we get a chance to do all three this year. So anyway, thank you very much. I'll close this out by saying God bless you, and I hope you condemn what happened in Israel and also what happened in Paris Olympics with that god-awful friggin' horrible opening thing that they did to people. That's just inexcusable. So anyway, goodbye everybody. Peace out. God bless. Thank you for walking with me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.